Welcome back to another incredible conversation where we dive deep into the stories that have everyone talking. If you're craving the inside scoop on everything happening in the entertainment world right now, you've come to the right place because today we're unpacking something that has the internet absolutely buzzing with opinions. Before we jump in, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're building something special here and I don't want you to miss a single update. The marriage of Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco has everyone discussing one particular detail that's causing quite a stir across social media platforms. Fresh off their private wedding ceremony, the couple is navigating their new life together while the world examines every aspect of their union, particularly the financial arrangements they've put in place. During a recent interview with Zane Lowe for Apple Music, Selena opened up about her experience as a newlywed, describing these early days as dreamlike and filled with joy. She spoke about how meaningful this new chapter has become for her, painting a picture of genuine happiness and contentment. However, beneath all the romance and celebration, there's a business arrangement that's generating intense debate among fans and critics alike. The discussion centers around the couple's decision to establish a comprehensive agreement protecting their individual assets. Sources close to the situation reveal that this arrangement was meticulously crafted to safeguard Selena's most valuable holdings, including her extraordinarily successful cosmetics company Rare Beauty, her extensive music catalog spanning her entire career, and her impressive collection of properties across various locations. People familiar with the matter emphasize that this wasn't a decision made lightly or out of mistrust, but rather a strategic move to protect what Selena has built through years of hard work. One insider explained that everything Selena owns today came from her own efforts, starting from the ground up without any shortcuts or handouts along the way. Reports have emerged suggesting that while Benny, who has accumulated substantial wealth of his own estimated at around $50 million, understands the necessity of such arrangements, there may have been some initial emotional response to the situation. Some sources claim he experienced a moment of hurt feelings when presented with the terms, even though he recognizes the logic behind protecting individual assets. The internet has been ruthless in its judgment, with many people criticizing Selena for what they perceive as a lack of faith in her relationship. Critics argue that entering a marriage with such strict boundaries sends a message of doubt and creates an atmosphere of anticipation for failure rather than hope for success. They suggest that this approach might plant seeds of insecurity and discomfort that could grow into larger issues down the road. Online commentators have been particularly vocal about what they see as coldness in Selena's approach, questioning whether someone truly in love would insist on such rigid terms. They wonder if Benny might eventually question whether his wife genuinely wants to build a life with him, or if she's constantly keeping one foot out the door, prepared for an eventual split. The arrangement reportedly ensures that if the marriage ends, Benny would walk away without any claim to the businesses, music rights, or properties that Selena owned before their union. However, this perspective overlooks some crucial realities about modern relationships and the importance of financial protection, regardless of how deep your feelings run for someone. The truth is that having clear financial boundaries doesn't diminish love or commitment in any way. It doesn't mean you're planning for failure or that you don't see a future with your partner. What it actually means is that you're being realistic about how people can change when emotions run high and stakes get elevated. We've all witnessed how quickly relationships can deteriorate when they end, especially when significant amounts of money are involved. People who once claimed they would love each other forever suddenly become unrecognizable when they're fighting over assets in a courtroom. The transformation can be shocking and devastating, turning formerly loving partners into adversaries willing to fight over every last penny. Previous discussions about this situation touched on the fact that the arrangement includes provisions preventing either party from claiming ongoing financial support from the other after a potential separation. This means neither Selena nor Benny would be obligated to provide monthly payments or large lump sums to each other if they decide to part ways. In many high-profile separations, the spouse with greater wealth ends up paying substantial amounts, sometimes reaching into the tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars. These payments can continue for years or even decades, creating lasting financial entanglements long after the emotional connection has ended. Additional reports suggest that Selena approached this arrangement with remarkable thoroughness, allegedly including specific clauses addressing various scenarios that could lead to the end of their marriage. Provisions reportedly address situations involving infidelity and other potential relationship challenges, creating clear consequences and protecting both parties' interests. Some observers believe Benny might have been surprised by the comprehensive nature of these terms, though others argue he likely anticipated such discussions given the vast difference in their financial positions. The reality is that when you genuinely care about someone, you don't want to cause them harm even if your feelings change or circumstances shift. That's exactly what makes these arrangements so valuable, because they provide clarity and protection when emotions might otherwise cloud judgment. California law presents particular challenges for wealthy individuals entering marriage, with regulations that can heavily favor the less wealthy spouse in dissolution proceedings. The state has seen countless celebrities engage in lengthy, expensive battles trying to protect their assets, only to end up paying massive monthly support amounts regardless. Women in the entertainment industry have been particularly vulnerable to these situations, often finding themselves forced to hand over significant portions of their wealth despite having earned it entirely through their own efforts before the marriage even began. The financial devastation can be staggering, with some celebrities paying hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month to former spouses. This brings us to the heart of why so many people are divided on this issue. One camp views the arrangement as a terrible sign, an omen suggesting the relationship is doomed before it truly begins. They see it as evidence that Selena doesn't fully trust Benny or believe in the permanence of their bond. The opposing viewpoint recognizes this as a practical necessity in today's world, especially given the astronomical sums involved. Reading between the lines of various reports, it becomes clear that Selena absolutely adores Benny and genuinely believes they'll spend their lives together. Otherwise, she never would have accepted his proposal in the first place. But being in love doesn't mean abandoning common sense or leaving yourself vulnerable to potential financial devastation. Those close to the situation insist that Selena is completely devoted to Benny and harbors no doubts about their future together. At the same time, they acknowledge that she has a responsibility to protect herself and everything she's worked so hard to achieve. The encouraging news is that Benny reportedly had no objections to signing the agreement and fully supports Selena's decision to protect her assets. He apparently understands the reasoning completely and wouldn't dream of challenging her on this matter. This response demonstrates maturity and genuine love, showing that he values her peace of mind and security above any potential financial gain. Let's examine this situation objectively and honestly. Selena Gomez has achieved billionaire status through relentless hard work and dedication to her craft. Benny Blanco has similarly worked incredibly hard to reach his current position in the music industry. Anyone who's paid attention to high-profile separations knows how ugly they can become. People transform into completely different versions of themselves when large sums of money are at stake. The desire for revenge or simply the intoxicating lure of wealth can turn even the kindest person into someone willing to fight dirty and demand every possible cent from their former partner. Given these realities, protecting your assets through clear legal agreements is absolutely intelligent planning. It's not a bad omen or a sign of mistrust. Instead, it's a way of entering the marriage with security and confidence, knowing that your partner is with you for the right reasons rather than potential financial gain. For those unfamiliar with Benny's financial situation, his net worth is actually quite substantial. He's created some of the most iconic songs in recent music history, contributing to countless hits that have dominated airwaves and streaming platforms. Money isn't the issue here at all. What matters is that Selena has built multiple businesses worth billions of dollars. She has family members to consider and generational wealth to protect. Making sure everything is properly secured just makes sense. There should be absolutely no shame in establishing these protections regardless of your financial status. Whether you're a billionaire, millionaire, or someone with modest savings, protecting what you've earned is simply smart planning. The idea that someone would expect to receive half of what their spouse earned before they even met is actually quite presumptuous when you think about it carefully. Why should ending a relationship entitle someone to wealth they had no part in creating? If someone gets genuinely upset about signing an agreement protecting premarital assets, that reaction itself raises serious questions about their intentions and motivations. Why would someone be angry that you want to keep the money you worked hard to earn long before they entered your life? What exactly are their intentions if they're upset about not having access to wealth they didn't help create? Anyone who frames this as not believing in love is missing the point entirely. This isn't about doubting love or romance. It's about recognizing that greed is a real force that can emerge unexpectedly. If a relationship ends badly, you can absolutely count on seeing sides of your former partner you never imagined existed. People become greedy incredibly quickly when they realize there's money to be gained. It happens in the blink of an eye, transforming loving partners into adversaries focused solely on maximizing their financial takeaway from the relationship. The rumors suggesting Benny was distraught or deeply saddened by having to sign this agreement seem highly unlikely given everything we know about the situation. The much more plausible scenario is that he completely understood and respected Selena's position. He likely recognized that she's worked extraordinarily hard for everything she has, without the benefit of family connections or industry advantages. She's not someone who married into wealth or inherited a fortune. Every dollar in her bank account represents her own talent, effort, and business acumen. She earned it all herself without relying on a famous last name or family reputation to open doors. This raises an important question worth considering broadly. What do you think about these protective agreements in general? Are they wise planning or signs of relationship problems? The answer seems obvious when you strip away the romance and look at practical realities. Even if you have relatively modest savings, protecting what's yours makes sense. Whether you have $100 or $100 million, those assets represent your hard work and deserve protection. When relationships end and things get contentious, people absolutely will try to take everything they possibly can. You must be extremely careful and prepared for that possibility. When results show conflicting information or appear incomplete, it's worth doing additional research to get clarity. The goal should always be finding information that's both accurate and useful while maintaining appropriate skepticism about extraordinary claims. Adapting your approach based on what each specific situation requires makes sense, whether that's about protecting assets or any other important life decision. The key is balancing trust with practical wisdom, recognizing that love and legal protection aren't mutually exclusive concepts. Thank you so much for being part of this community where we can have real conversations about the topics that matter. Your engagement and perspectives make these discussions so much richer and more interesting. If you appreciated this deep dive into what's really going on behind the headlines, don't forget to subscribe because we've got so much more coming your way, and I genuinely don't want you to miss any of it. Drop your thoughts in the comments about whether you think these financial protections are wise planning or unnecessary caution. Let's keep this conversation going because hearing different viewpoints helps all of us think more deeply about these complex issues. I appreciate every single person who takes time out of their day to be here and engage with this content. Your support means everything and keeps this community growing stronger every day.